If I take you to Wyoming today, you're going to be like, homie, you just leave me right here. Like, this is exactly how Americans are supposed to live. This is the American dream that has been taken from us in every other place. This is it.
So what would you make today?
Mountains, river streams, all of it. Live out the way. Like, that's the way. If I took you to one of those places, you'd be like, there's Costco here, right? Yeah, it's about 35 minutes away, but we have it.
I make double chocolate chips.
So your age may
and a single.
The younger you are, you got to be closer to the city.
Single chocolate
I need the action. I need this. And then the older you get, you realize to get me away from this action.
And
get me away from all of these people. Get
the
out,
egg!
Right? So I'm wondering if some of that come into South Dakota. So I looked this up. I think you could sell my house right now for $215. And so I think this is absolutely true. And it wasn't that.
Wait.
It was less, but it wasn't that. A true thing. I think you're going to. Yes, because some of the situations almost demand it. But also through that, I think people are sending them to the wolves and then bitching that they're not prepared for it. Stupid enough to take it seriously.
Where we gonna put the chair? Top floor.
Yeah. Thought he was ready, but there's been some re-aggravation to that knee injury. He's going to miss some more games here.
Delivered pizza to some guy in a trailer back there. One time. Wasn't really a trailer, it was like a Winnebago, like a mobile home. An RV.
Err on the side of caution, right? I mean, you see it all the time, which is fine. I mean, their playoffs. We've cultivated a culture where unless you win in the playoffs, none of it matters. And so we've cultivated a culture where guys are missing upwards of 15 to 20 games a year to make sure that they're ready for that moment, right? For all that's been made about Donovan not wanting to be in Cleveland, coming back a little bit too soon, while probably not smart, I think should tell everyone what they, are not hearing otherwise, right? And he wants to come back and play. He wants to win. He wants to get this team in a better spot. And obviously, as we've seen over the last several weeks with their record, this team with Donovan Mitchell is much different than the team without it. So, bummer that he's going to be missing time, right? 100%. And bummer that he's going to miss time. You wish that wouldn't be the case. Clearly, he wanted to play even though not 100%, and now suffered a bit of a setback. So, but as we just discussed in the lead-in, what happens after the middle of April, is much more important than anything else. So, here's to him coming back quickly, but healthy, and if it means third seed versus second or what have you, that's just going to have to sort of be the collateral damage of the decision. But, this team, if he's not back for the playoffs, it's not going to matter. So, that's going to be the biggest part.
Yeah, I want him healthy, and I want him healthy for a playoff run. And I think you're right. It seems more and more these days like Donovan's trying to say and do things that will allude to, hey, man, I'm in. I kind of want to be a Cavalier, right? And so there. And now, a couple of days to help us usher Justin in for the next era. What do you make of the Steelers quarterback situation?
Well, for starters, I don't think their view of Russell Wilson as potential backup quarterback.
No,
I think that's independent of Kenny Pickett, probably on the back nine of his career here, on those lines, and potentially be a threat that Kenny Pickett was not. That said, it's tough to not say that Justin Fields has a higher ceiling at this point between the two of them, and just need a little time and maybe a little more structure that the Bears were not providing him. There's arguably no better structure-based organization in football than the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they've been able to win games under center for the Steelers. It's a net positive. It's a net positive for them, right? It's very much low risk, potential high reward moves on both fronts. Was Russell's season a function of Denver, or is he toast, right? I think we find that out next season 100% either way. Is Justin
Russ. I think it's
for sure.
Like, hey man, we're gonna start him, but just so you know, you're on a leash here. This ain't Seattle Russ.
He's getting paid by Denver, right? He's not getting paid by. Exactly. He's not being paid by Pittsburgh, and I think that message will be very loud and clear to him. Based on how he starts the season.
Absolutely. So we're talking to Scott from WaitingForNextYear.com, and again, the Steelers adding not one but two kind of big name quarterbacks to that room. Now the Browns made some moves too, and I made the mistake of posting this on social media, and I was joking around a little, but fans beat me up on it, and I didn't spend all weekend replying because I was like, it's not worth it. I got a microphone. I'll do it Monday. But the Browns brought in Mike Vrabel as a personnel consultant. He had been a head coach with the Tennessee Titans. He's an Ohio guy. He went to Walsh High School, then he went to Ohio State. He's won at every level he's been at. And now he didn't win a Super Bowl as a head coach with Tennessee, and it might have just been time for a new piece of scenery a la Andy Reid in Philadelphia, right? It kind of feels like that a little bit. But I said, joking around, they traded the quarterback controversy, meaning let's not bring in Flacco again, let's go with Deshaun, and they traded that for a coaching controversy. So, of course, people beat me up, and, Kevin's a two-time coach of the year. It's like, yeah, but after he won coach of the year the first time, half the fans and media still wanted him fired. When we hired Jim Schwartz, what most people thought was this was the team applying pressure to Kevin's seat, so don't move at all, do you?
No, and I'd be hesitant to conflate fans and media, reacting to things in the moment versus what the team actually feels like right?
Again, there's two things there. There's a quarterback controversy at the team level, and then there's controversy at the team levels or in the fan level. And again, I never really stated which one I thought was going to happen in that post. People just started jumping down my throat on it. But I do think the 500 section is having this conversation multiple games next year for sure. I don't think the team will be.
Yeah, right. That's the big difference. This team is 100% behind Kevin Stefanski and
is where is his extension? Is there any life in that conversation whatsoever? Because people feel like, man, there's no extension and you're bringing Vrabel on as a consultant. So some people do think we actually have something brewing here already. You don't see it that way.
Not right now. No.
Okay.
I have no reason to believe that. I think it's a can't have too many smart people in the room sort of situation. And what's not being discussed is if they are married to Andrew and Kevin, and Jim Schwartz were to turn another excellent defensive season into a head coaching opportunity next year, you have your next man up as a DC, right? In terms of Mike Vrabel being there, and so I think they're doubling down on defense and tough football being a part of their culture. Vrabel is through and through that. He's obviously Ohio guy, which this city laps up, and Schwartz isn't exactly spring chicken guy either. So either there's a variety of outs here for him to potentially not be with this team long term, and I think having sort of an heir apparent defensive mind, tough nosed guy that the city can rally around is a good thing. I stop at the potential replacement for Kevin Stefanski, right? I think, again, they won a lot of games last year with fourth and fifth stringers across their entire roster, and that's a head coach. That's a head coaching thing, right? And that's all he needs to put on the resume. When then he is being let go, I think the city and the fan base could probably, if they need to be coddled, could benefit from that just being inked, but go ahead. Fair point. Yeah. So I think it would make. And the second that ink dries, how many coaches have we seen get extended? A 4 or 5 year thing, and then Romeo Crennel would love to have a word with anybody who thinks a 5 year contract is worth 5 years.
What a great point.
So, there's always going to be something for this city to complain about from a fan base standpoint, but that having too many good coaches shouldn't be one of them.
I agree. That's Scott from WinningForNextYear.com, buddy. We'll send everybody your way. Again, you can find him on X at WFNY Scott next Monday, 8 o'clock right here. Have a great week.
You too, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, man. I agree with him there. The Romeo Cornell was a great mention by him. I've said about contracts before. I have a contract with this company, and people always tell me, why are you worried about losing your job? You have a contract. Which I always say, who gave it to me?
There's some customers.
That's right, the company. If the contract helped me, they would never put it in front of me.
You thought Stansbury was a mess on air? Check out the show's Facebook page at Stansbury Show.
Just the way the culture
Rock
is here.
1069.
Welcome back to the Stansbury Show on Rock 1069, 9 a.m. More retailers are second guessing self-checkout. We'll get to that.
Politeness anymore.
You hear about how fat and dumb Americans are all the time. I would imagine this is going to be true around the world these days. We're getting dumber by the day via social media and spending too much time on the phone and spending too much time inside, not, living and breathing the air out there and, actually living versus consuming life through television and screens and the like. And there's no denying that obesity rates are on the rise. The latest data tells us, as a matter of fact, that 39.6% of U.S. adults are obese. Another 31.5% would be overweight, and 7.7% are severely obese. That from the Food Research and Action Center. Right? Now, does that make America the #1 obese country in the world? Well, again, according to them, not really. We rank 12th, but it is the most obese country worldwide. Not the most obese country worldwide, but it is #1 when considering high-income countries, right? That we would be #1 for high-income countries. There's no denying, right? I can tell by my waistline and yours. We eat too much, and we don't exercise enough. Now, a lot of people will make not exercising about what? They don't have the time to do it. Now, I am more time-rich than some of you. For sure I am. That's what not having children will do, right? But I think enough of us are watching multiple episodes of television a day that if we wanted to dedicate one of those hours to working out in the living room, whether you can't pay for a gym, you could plank, you could, sit up, you could push up. There's a lot of stuff. You buy one kettlebell one time, and then you can use it, right? You can kind of do that. I bought an adjustable for the house, and I love that. It goes from 5 pounds to 40 pounds, right? It's not the heaviest kettlebell you'll ever need, but if you put that thing on 40 pounds and do a 25-minute workout with it, you're going to feel it, right? Now, I don't do it often enough. So how do we combat the problem? Well, some companies are actually trying. One of them, and there are more of these, but I'm pulling from CNBC.com here, one of them is actually paying their employees to work out. It's not so crazy when you think about it. I mean, who's supplying your healthcare plan to you? Your place of employment. Those are expensive for employers because of the health of the average human being. That's why a lot of times why people get fired is the benefits package is just too much money and they're looking to get that underneath control. So you take that away, you take the salary away, next thing you know, their bottom line gets better, right? It's those health plans are a lot of it for sure. So this solutions. So I'm going to guess they hire pretty healthy people to begin with, and they're probably workout people motivated to begin with. My guess is you're not looking to hire the obese people at Nutrition Solutions. But here's what they're going to do. On Wednesdays and Fridays, every employee at this company, and it's a meal prep company, you have the option to attend a free exercise class. Here's the part you're not going to like, before your workday starts. But a lot of people at that company say it's hard to pass up. Because, quote, if you come to these workouts before your workday starts, we actually start your workday. They're going to put you on the clock. They're getting compensated whatever their pay rate is to be at that class. So essentially, you're going to have to get to work earlier. You'll work out with your crew, but you'll get paid for being there. It's basically logged into their normal pay, he says, just like the regular hours they would work. And it works exactly the same. The sessions can be thought of as an overtime for personal and financial gain. They say employees having the autonomy to go as often or as little as they'd like. You don't have to go ever.
from the land.
But it gives them the benefit of getting
Landfill?
their exercise out of the way.
It's not-
So after work,
not
they can go
delegate for the
home and work
trees?
on their personal
No,
goals,
it's not near
spend
the
time with their
trees.
family and loved ones.
Just
And
looks
again,
like
that's
it
the
is.
CEO. So the part I like is they say most trainers I've ever talked to say if you can work out
actually
earlier in the
coming out
day,
of a
it's
chimney.
better for you. That you get the benefits longer throughout the day for it.
Is that a
And I
natural
could see
gas?
that making a lot of sense. Me working out before work would be getting up
Fine.
really early, and I kind of need some of that time into bed, so that's not my best plan. I can get to the gym pretty earlier in the day, and so I still feel like that's pretty early for me and for most people. I love this idea, and I think we need to do more of it. I couldn't decide, and I guess you could tell me by texting in 330-450-7625, what would be better for most of you. Would you rather have to get there early, but they'll pay you? Or would you rather see it, just don't pay me for the hour, let me out of work an hour early, and then if I go to the workout thing, that way I can still, my day ends earlier, I still get my workout in, and I can go home, versus trying to get to the office before all of that. Because I still got to get my kids on the bus, I still got to get this done, I still got to sleep, I still got to wake up and get ready to go, and I'm curious how the showering after your workout session works while you go back into the office. Is it, because it doesn't say that here. And I think that's interesting, right? Because let's be honest, after you work out, you want to shower. You don't want to sit next to everybody and their stench and their sweat and all that. But he says in the military, where he was, quote, paid to train and stay fit, he saw firsthand how exercise improved his discipline and overall quality of life. And for sure it does. People will tell you all the time, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. They're right. They are absolutely 100% right about that. The only people who deny that are people who know they're never going to do it. So Taco Tuesdays, gotta have this. Live a little, splurge, live a little. Well, live a little and splurge are different than 10,000 calorie meals 3 times a day, 7 days a week.
Like a wake and bake.
Probably over
Bake
there.
oven. The Stansberry Show on Rock 1069.
Where's it back there?
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show. We'll get you into incarceration test
Station
here.
is right next
Just
to
a couple of
One
minutes.
Stop Lord.
Godsmack part of that. So
Right
I decided to
next.
pull whatever out. May whip out some more Godsmack throughout the week. Some Shine Down
Right
stuff
next.
too. Is there another one of your headliners? Keeping in the spirits there. We had been talking about Nutrition Solutions. This is a company that's paying their workers.
2711.
It's optional. You don't have to do it, but if you're willing to show up before your shift starts and work out, they'll pay you. They'll put you on the clock to be doing it. The CEO says, quote, I want to ensure my team has the tools to become the healthiest, fittest, and most dominant versions of themselves.